Made it on time. All right. Welcome to the Parks and Recreation Commission meeting. We're calling this meeting to order at 5:30, and we'll start off with roll call to establish a quorum.
Chair McDermott,
Present.
Vice Chair Schutte,
Here.
Commissioner Baker Roberts, Commissioner Fazier, Commissioner Meyer, Commissioner Moan,
Here.
and Commissioner Walt.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Awesome. Rolling into item number 3, public comment. Anybody from the public is welcome to come up. Mr. French, please write your name on the form in front. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you very much, Denny French. I'm very pleased to be here. Anyhow, the deal is that I have concerned about a tree at the senior center, and I would like someone to alert Mr. Tonset, Bob Tonset, he's the arborist. It's stressed, I don't see a water source, and it is in dire stress. I'd also like to applaud whoever is working with the Ronald D. Wilson considerations to put a pollinator landscape area in. I think that's a great idea, and with consideration and on the location, because we don't want to have a bunch of bees coming in to get pollen with a bunch of kids playing on certain equipment or in areas. But it sounds like a great idea, and I'd like to hear it considered for many more of the parks. There are areas in it that would be perfect and help with the corridor considerations. I also would like to bring up the Lampa Ranch land that's left as far as undeveloped or not yet owned by an independent developer to become a historical park, not so much a scenic or a connectivity situation, but a historical for the ranches. Combine the ranches that we've lost and make it a historical site with certain aspects of the ranching and the farming and such that went on in the area. I think that would be a great use. It was brought up by an individual at the public comment point, and she'd like to know how best to promote that, or at least who to get a hold of to suggest it. And I have the same concern, but I'll be asking about that later. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Denny. Anyone else from the public wishing to address the commission? All right. Moving on to item number 4, the approval of the last meeting's minutes between us and the Open Space Advisory Committee. Everybody have a chance to review those minutes? Anybody have any questions, comments, concerns about them? And do we have a
Motion to approve the PRC minutes from Monday, June 15th, 2026.
perfect? We have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Kurt. And the minutes are approved. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Perfect. All right. Item 5A for discussion, a presentation of record and recognition of Parks, Recreation, and Open Space Department employees for outstanding customer service. And I'll pass it to Jen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Jennifer Budge, Parks and Recreation Director. As you know, we have some really amazing staff. We often hear complaints and we don't really provide an avenue for the public to be able to share the positive feedback that they encounter with our staff every day. So we created the Parks MVP program, and this is our first kind of real presentation to acknowledge those staff that we've heard from the public. And we got dozens and dozens of emails from the public just talking about how wonderful our staff is, and I wanted to read a few of the quotes that we received from the public and just take a minute to acknowledge them for all their hard work, because they work so hard for all of us, and we should all take some time just to make sure we say thank you. So Nate and the guys were wonderful at my husband's service, and it was successful due to their efforts. Nate is so caring and hardworking. Thank you. The range is nice and clean, but what makes it enjoyable are the range safety officers. Without them, it'd be a risk every time you go. Please thank the RSOs for the job that they do. Thank you for cutting the weeds back before they dry out. Keeping the bushes trimmed, so much more has kept our neighborhood looking well. And that's from a Long Ranch resident. Just want to point that out. You're doing an amazing job managing everything here. Dave and your crew, you're doing a great job. Exceptional customer service skills. Chad was polite, respectful, efficient during my wife's memorial service. The service was a success due to Chad's quiet involvement. Christy is doing an outstanding job, and she went above and beyond in her customer service. If I could give her a rating, it'd be 5 stars. This is an overdue love letter to the Carson City Parks, Recreation, and Open Space Department for a 3rd season of kayaking with generous support from Carson Hospital. As a retired charge nurse, my body work practitioner, I work as a result of a downturn of trauma and loss. This program has been a godsend to me. The level of skill, leadership, and teamwork with Mike, Dan, Eric, and Caitlin is a gold medal. Regaining health and harmony at 77 years old, free of medication, out in the Sierras with youth in the community, it's a butterfly effect and a true miracle. Thank you. Chad was respectful and kind during my husband's service. Erin has been a wonderful and responsive volunteer coordinator, and in addition to helping community volunteer organizations with their own projects. I believe she also produces the newsletter, which is colorful and informative. I've participated in several events with her, and she's always energetic and inspiring. Christy is very knowledgeable and 100% on top of it. She has a great sense of humor and performs her duties with a special touch of human interaction. Whenever I need help with range reservations, she responds in a timely manner and is exceptional at solving problems in real time. I enjoy all my correspondence with her and wish there were more people like her in all industries. These 2 ladies, they're talking about Danielle and Erin, are always so amazing. They've helped us with our cash in and trash out events so much, and always a positive force in the community and in the Parks Department. We in the geocaching community are deeply grateful for their help. They deserve a recognition and a raise. Christy has her thumb on the pulse of the department. She effectively routes and handles all inquiries as well as does an exceptional job with the range reservations. I'd like to nominate Park Ranger Danielle Sattler for the Parks MVP Award. I recently participated in one of her bird tours and was impressed by her knowledge, enthusiasm, and ability to make learning enjoyable. Danielle thoroughly explained the different types of birds, the importance of the roles in their environment, what they eat, and where they live. She made the tour fun and engaging while teaching participants how to protect and respect wildlife and their natural habitats. Danielle truly exemplifies the Park Recreation and Open Space Department mission by providing exceptional customer service. Carson City is a jewel, and I'm always proud to show off to my visitors and friends. Please know that every employee has my gratitude for their hard work and that I love this beautiful city. Chad is a blessing to Carson City Parks. His positive, kind, and helpful attitude is such an amazing addition to the cemetery team, and I know he's been so helpful to those who have lost a loved one. He also takes his time to make sure everything is done perfectly and that each park he works at is well cared for. And that's just a select few. I could be here all day reading what we receive from the public, but I just really wanted to take a moment to thank the staff. I love seeing everybody here. It's so nice and heartwarming. And we have a token of appreciation for all of you that are here. And then I do want to acknowledge the top 3 MVPs that were named the most. They get a special extra gift certificate. So Nate Delaney, Christy Sanchez, and Chad Singer were the most mentioned. So they are outstanding. So thank you. So if we could all go down here and we'll have a little token for you and take a group picture, that would be amazing.
Yeah, I don't know who didn't sign them. I signed them.
Oh, you did sign?
I did.
I think everybody else.
Okay, cool. Everybody got a coin, right? Awesome. Thanks again, everybody.
Thank you so much for being awesome.
It's really great to hear so many community members chime in and recognize the employees and all the staff across the board. It really opens your eyes to how much the community comes out to all of our facilities and interacts with our staff, and that it's just such a great positive place and encouraging, and even in people's lowest moments, it's really touching. So, yeah, absolutely.
You know, and just recently I had an experience with Jen and Dave, and a community member uh, reached out and had some questions about the park at Schultz Ranch. And Jen and Dave both met me there, and we sat down and spoke with this gentleman, and he was so appreciative and followed up with a really nice email. And so yeah, it's that customer service and that willingness to listen and explain the why, because that's always so important to understand. So kudos.
And can I just add that, a good culture and good work camaraderie is really one of the results of great leadership. So thank you for what you guys do.
All right. Moving on to item 5B, which is for discussion and possible action regarding the recommendation to the Board of Supervisors regarding a memorandum of understanding between Carson City and Muscle Powered. We have a presentation.
I'll kick it off while they're working on that. Jennifer Budge, Parks and Recreation Director. As you know, we recently updated our master plan for Centennial Park. As part of that process, the community overwhelmingly stated that they'd love to have a bike park in our community. Muscle Powered has been such a great partner from our trail system and has come forward to try to be, a proactive force for this project. So I just wanted to thank them for their foresight and just always being willing to pitch in, and no challenge is too hard for them, and I really appreciate that. So I see a really great partnership with this project separately as well, not just with our trail system, but I think you can see just through our trails partnership that we have. Most communities are really jealous of what we have and people that are caring and passionate and great stewards of our trail system. So I think we'll be able to hopefully continue that with the bike park project. So, and Dan Thornton here from Muscle Powered is here to talk about all that they envision. Do you need help? I think if you just hit enter. It's a PDF, Dan.
Mike's
Thank you.
on.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Right. Well, hello again. Dan Thornton with Muscle Powered, founder of Ride Carson City as well, and fifth generation Nevada, and happy to be here. Really appreciate the partnership that or the collaboration, I should say, with the city that we're working on this. So here we go. We'll keep it short and sweet. As Jen did the intro, the community wants this, and we've got a great spot for it, and it's been approved for the Centennial Park already. You know most of this, but who is Muscle Powered? A reminder. So we're a local 501c3 volunteer board, volunteer crews. We've got over 2 decades, really. I think we're at 26 years from the research I did, 26 or 27 years of building trails with Carson City and maintaining those trails. We've delivered successful projects that are award-winning projects. Cap to Tahoe was an award-winning project. Some of our leadership went back to DC to receive an award for that, along with Ash to Kings as well. And Prison Hill is another fantastic area, obviously. And we if things remain the same as we're looking right now, around October 1st, we'll be starting 3 new miles of trail out of Centennial Park. So that's part of the trail system that will eventually go over to Washoe Lake and up to Virginia City, but if everything maintains. And I will add that that would be a shared trailhead eventually. If everything works out, we would be sharing a trailhead at that spot. Oh, please, please. Can I drag it down? Yeah, no. Sorry. Maybe I can drag it down. Let's see.
Yep. That's interesting. Easier said than done.
Oh, do that?
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
I'll try and work that way. Yeah. Thank you very much. So, oops. I think we just went one past, didn't we? Yes. So what we are asking for tonight, so we're asking for a recommendation to the Board of Supervisors to approve a memorandum of understanding between Carson City and Muscle Powered. So this would allow us to move forward with planning, design, fundraising, and development. This does not commit to any city funding. It does not convey any property interest. It does not authorize construction. All of those things would come back through the process again. So just for those that might not know what a bike park is, I wanted to give at least a simple explanation of that. So a tot track. So a lot of this now are, I don't know if you've seen them recently, balance bikes. So the newest innovation in the last 10 years is that they've gotten rid of pedals and you don't see as many tricycles, and kids learn how to ride bikes so much faster. Like they don't have to rely on it's kind of like the crutch of having the sides of, what I want to say, training wheels. Yeah, so you see children now that are maybe 2 years old in some of these balance bike tracks. So we'd have a tot track. A pump track is a continuously looping track with rollers and bank burns. If we can raise enough money for it, we would probably do it in asphalt so that we would have less maintenance. Some of them are dirt. Sometimes the ones for the younger kids are a little more dirt, so you can change them more often. Skills area is small features ridden at low speed, and then they get progressively bigger, and there's always a ride around. So somebody can challenge themselves on what they're doing, or if at the last minute they're kind of like, oh, maybe I don't want to do that, they can ride around to the side. And then flow trails and jump lines. Really, in the end, I think the best analogy is it's kind of like a ski area, if many of you are familiar, right? So you get to the top of a ski area, what do you see? You see a run, has a big sign, and it has like a green box, a blue box, or a black box, and everybody knows what those are. Right? And there would be lots of signage. That's one thing that a bike park always has, is a ton of signage so that everybody knows what they're getting into. As Jen talked about, this is approved unanimously by the Board of Supervisors, and you all approved it, I think the recommendation unanimously as well. And lots of support for it in the community. It's designed for everyone. Same facility serves, again, the child on a balance bike all the way to a teenager. And I thought about bringing a video and trying to make it work, but I'm glad I didn't since we're already having this tech issue. But I have a video that was, I went up to Baiju Bike Park by chance on a Tuesday, and without any setup at all, in 1 minute and 7 seconds, like it's the most perfect sales pitch you could ever see for a bike park. It's, you know, adults, parents with their kids at the top of these runs. You see a dad go, you see a mom go, you see a 16-year-old go, you see a 10-year-old go, and then over to the side, you see a dad running after a 3-year-old down a tot track. Like, and then like a 9-year-old girl walking back up on the side. It's like, if I could show it to you, you'd be like, that's, and this was a Tuesday. It was just a Tuesday in South Lake Tahoe. So that's, I'm not building this for me. My kids don't ride. And I'm really building it for Carson City because I feel like it's a hole in our infrastructure and something that our community really needs. So our goal is to have no gate and no membership fees. That's what we're really trying to do. You know, there are, like the BMX track does have a fence around it and does charge fees. I can't guarantee that it would absolutely be free because we're not getting any contributions from the city. We have to figure out how our operations are going to go. And so there could potentially be fees at some point. There will be fees for workshops, clinics, and competitions. So, well, there we go. So we are in it to do this. We feel confident that we can raise the money for this. And this MOU really unlocks the door for that. Being in the master plan is one thing, but really showing that we have a collaboration with the city on this level of a memo of understanding is what is going to allow us to go sit in front of grant committees and foundations and private individuals and start to ask for money. It is phased, so that is if we raise less money, we build less bike park, but we don't build half a bike park. That's just not how we would do it. They're not successful. So you build to the level you can, but you build a complete bike park just at a smaller level. I talk about the mixed sources there and that the MOU opens the door to fundraising. So this is really an important part. Long-term stewardship, I know this is a big issue. And so professional design and construction from the start. And, you know, obviously it costs more to do it right at the beginning, but that's the way we want to do it. And then from the beginning, from day one, we have talked about raising maintenance money alongside the money to build the park. They would be hand in hand. So there would be a maintenance fund alongside of it. So I want to raise at least 3 years of maintenance money to fund the project from when we would open, so that we would have 3 years of maintenance money from that point. And then it would be continuous fundraising after that, just like anything else. We'd have to be part of our annual fundraising would be to raise money for the park. Again, there are opportunities in there with workshops, clinics, and competitions. And the most successful bike parks have a very active programming schedule. There's all kinds there's women's clinics, children's clinics, parents clinics, jump clinics, skills clinics, pump track clinics. So there's a lot of opportunities to program the park. And again, we're looking at being accountable. Muscle Powered has, you know, been accountable to the city. We've done some big projects with you all. We look forward to being able to do that again. And again, any future operating agreement comes back. Benefits are endless, but I had to distill them to a few. So, you know, with youth, somewhere to go, something to work at, and a sport that rewards patience and progression. And I thought about putting it in here as well. It's really hard to ride a bike with a phone. I mean, you can do it, and there's kids that try, but like, and of course, they are all going to film each other while they're doing it. But the fact is, while they're riding the bike, they're going to be off their screen. And it is a sport that is just less, I don't know, enabling of that. Super healthy. Visitors, we're on 50. One of the things that I think, we don't have a bike park, but people go to South Lake Tahoe, they go to Truckee, they go to Incline, they go to Reno for bike parks. So people that are traveling across on 50 will stop here and go to our bike park if we build it, 100%. It'll put heads in beds for sure. And here's the ask. So I'm hoping somebody will move to recommend to the Board of Supervisors approval of the memorandum of understanding between Carson City and Muscle Powered. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right, we'll start on this end.
Well, sure. Hi.
Hi.
Thank you for your presentation.
bet.
And thank you to Muscle Powered. I love all of the trails.
Awesome.
I haven't been on all of them, but I frequent like a few a lot.
Good.
So, regarding your funding, have you estimated how much funding you're seeking to raise for, and how many phases are you looking at? Is that phased out? And then also, if you have an estimate for your annual maintenance fees?
So the amount of money that it would take to build the park directly reflects the design of the park, and we don't have a design for the park. So it's really hard for me to say how much it would cost. And if I say anything, I'll get anchored to that.
Yeah, no, I understand. Yeah.
And I will say that the maintenance fee is exactly the same thing. And I'm not trying to dodge your question at all. But if we build a bigger park, it's going to take more maintenance, right? And if it's a smaller park, it's going to take less. But I will say that we're not rebuilding the wheel here. The municipal bike parks exist all over the United States. We're surrounded by them. There's municipal bike parks so Baiju Park in South Lake Tahoe. There's a municipal bike park in Incline Village. There's a municipal bike park in Tahoe or in Truckee, and there's a municipal bike park in Reno. So we're not recreating the wheel. They are all funded differently.
Yeah.
They are all funded differently. And most of the cities do participate at some level with seed funding or whatever. We're not asking for that here.
So have you budgeted this first phase for design and?
We have not. I
planning?
mean, we've talked some really wide-ranging numbers,
Yeah.
really wide-ranging numbers. So I really hesitate because anything I say, it could be wrong. It depends on. So I'll add that we are also looking at whether we stand up as a muscle power to do operations ourselves internally, or whether we bring in an outside operator to help us do this. And bringing in an outside operator is going to affect the design as well quite a bit, because it would be up to them to a certain degree under our umbrella, right? And the city's guidance. But I don't want to anchor somebody to a number.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough.
Hopefully I'm not dodging your question. It's an honest answer.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm
Can
just
I
curious.
jump in and maybe I'll attempt to help?
Okay.
Tell me if I say something wrong.
Okay. Okay.
Stop me at
Okay.
any time.
Right.
So the point of this agreement is to enable them to fundraise and ultimately do a design of a project. Usually when you have a designer, they'll give you like an engineer's estimate, so then they can identify what phases might look like, what those hard costs might be, so they can have a better idea of it. Right now, it's a beautiful vision,
Yeah.
and we need to get that vision on paper, but they don't want to spend their time and effort without some kind of agreement.
Yeah.
So I think that's the intent of the agreement, is to be able to enable them to be able to do that. So I think some of those answers are all great, but I don't know that we have the answers for those yet.
Okay.
They would 100% come back with when we come back to see you again, we will have more of those answers for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, thanks for being on the hot seat with those budgeting questions. But I was just curious if you had, already planned anything out or like what stage that was. But I support the project. I think it's a great idea, and I really appreciate the thought that it will bring more, even tourism here and things like that. So.
I didn't answer one of your questions, which was how many phases. So initially, again, this might change, but we are talking about like 3 phases. So first phase would be, and again, each one of these would be a complete phase. So you would have, your first phase is funded at whatever level we decide is, okay, this is what the community looks like, can contribute to that. We'll do a first phase that initially shows that level. Then, and I'm 100% convinced of this because I've seen it happen at every bike park, is that it's super successful. Everybody's like, oh my gosh, I love this, but what if we could go a little further? you announce that phase, it funds again, and you do that, and then you go again. So kind of I'd give you this is that the idea would be that there'd be like nodes going up the hillside at Centennial Park, and out of each node, you could ride sections of the bike park. And there would be different ability of lines. So there would, from each node, there would be a beginner, intermediate, and an expert line, say.
Mhm.
And you'd have a climb track that would go up through that. Those are that's my rough sketch of what we're talking about.
Okay,
Okay?
okay. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. I think these, kind of public-private partnerships are a fantastic way to kind of move projects forward that, maybe the department doesn't have the bandwidth for and help with in that way. So I'm very supportive of that piece of it. My questions are more on the MOU document that we received, and maybe Jen, these are more questions for you. Is this the first MOU considered with Muscle Power, or have there been any in the past, or any with other similar entities this is kind of guiding us in this document?
Well, we do have an agreement with Muscle Powered already executed. I didn't bring a copy of that, but it's for our trail system. So this would be something separate. This is something that Muscle Powered initially drafted. We marked it up. Todd and I both worked on it, and then we did a back and forth situation. And we took examples from other best management practices from other entities across the nation. So we did kind of steal some stuff from other places that have gone well.
Yeah.
And they have a vision for that. I think there's a couple unknowns. We don't know who the operator might be. That's still an unknown, and who's actually going to do the construction. There's a couple of things we would have to work out as we get through design and that initial phase. But so we had to kind of be flexible in the document, so there was different directions we could take.
Okay. And then along the fundraising standpoint, so the way I understand it is, Muscle Power is going to be out there. You're going to be, raising all the funds to get you through, the initial planning and, design phases. And then you'll get to a point where then, like Jen said, you'll get engineers' estimates. You'll kind of get a rough idea of construction moving forward. Where are those fundraising dollars going to live? Are they going to live within Muscle Power's coffers to kind of then work with the consultants and then ultimately the contractors?
That is initially the plan. There is, within Muscle Power, there was another, we stood up the V&T, the historic V&T that came out of Muscle Powered as well. There are some different models for how you would do that, but ultimately Muscle Powered would be the umbrella organization and the responsible party for this.
So I guess my question would be is, you said Muscle Power's been around for 30 years and not going anywhere great, but just say this MOU is just for a generic other entity that's, raising funds and essentially paying the bills for this project, during the course of design or construction. I guess my question is ultimately, how does the city ensure that, Muscle Power's doing their thing, paying their bills, or is there some sort of city kind of oversight or control of those funds as well? Or are you just kind of leaving it to Muscle Power to do?
So there's provisions in the agreement. We could audit the project at any time. We have rights to be able to do that and be accountable. They will report regularly to us. We'll meet with them on a regular basis. So we'll have open communication for that point. This does not authorize any construction or moving dirt. I just want to be really clear. So once we figure out sort of the direction of the operator, we have different options that we're required to do in NRS, the Nevada Revised Statutes. If we have an operator that's a nonprofit, we don't have to go out to bid. We don't have to do a request for proposals and all those things. If it's a public-private partnership, if it was someone that was private, we would have to go out to bid. If we were going to do a lease, we'd have to go out to bid. So we don't know a lot of these answers yet, but they are a 501c3, so they'd be tax-deductible donations. They can qualify for funding that we cannot qualify for. We can qualify for funding that they can't qualify for. So the agreement does talk about how we would provide letters of support. They would write the grants. They would do the heavy lifting, their time and their dime, so to speak. And but we would provide those letters of support and those guidance whenever we needed to. but they would hold the initial funds. And then if we, let's say we get $100,000 or whatever our goal is, when we have that design, then we figure out who the operator is. We would go, who is going to do construction? Is it the city that's going to construct it? There's a million questions when we get to that point.
Yeah, and I guess to kind of leading to ultimately the purpose of my question is you get to construction, contractors have lien rights.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, something happens and the bills stop getting paid, like who ultimately, the city's getting lien because they own the property, right?
I can
So,
tell you right now, it would not be in the best interest of the city to construct something without a written agreement for operation that has some kind of operational guarantees.
Or a
That's
bond
where
or
I think
something,
we
yeah.
fell short on the disc golf course, and it ended up fine, but it wasn't without its challenges. So we want to do it right, which is why we have this agreement now, and trying to have an agreement all the way so the roles and responsibilities are very clear.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. I think this is great, and have always had the utmost respect for Muscle Power and the work you do, because it's a lot of heavy lifting.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I think primarily a lot of my questions are geared over here as well, so I'll just start asking. So first and foremost, in the staff report, it says that there is no fiscal impact, but the agreement commits staff time and specifically, leaves like the future infrastructure cost allocations. So when you say that there is no cost to the city, can you explain then would the staff time being?
This agreement obligates us to like an in-kind contribution. So city staff, we will designate a point of contact for them. Our parks project manager likely will be the primary point of contact, but they might work with Dave Navarro as our park superintendent, or someone else that might need assistance. Public Works might have to provide some assistance as well. We need to provide topography and our GIS data that we have available on site. We've done a bunch of design for Centennial, so we have a lot of good data points that might help their designer once they have someone on board. So we will provide that type of service, but we're not going to be providing or obligated to provide any cash.
Okay.
Nothing from our budgets.
And then when the design is done, then that will come back to the commission.
We can do that. We can bring the design back for review.
Okay, that'd be great. In 5.2, it mentions, that it may solicit community. So my ask is why that would be an optional.
Which section? I'm sorry.
5.2.
5.2. So
Yeah.
I think part of what we put that in there for is that actually the survey that the city initially did was very detailed. And if you go back and look at the results of the survey, it actually told us what people wanted built at the park. So I think that at the moment, we obviously want to work within the community, but it really said like these people want a pump track, these people want a skills park, these people want, and it was a percentage based of the people that participated. So it's not that we're against it. It does feel like that we need to have something to work off of for our designers, and it does feel like the city already did a really, it's kind of what we would do anyway. Like, what do you want at the bike park? And the city's already done that. So,
Okay.
I think we can take out the word optional
sure.
to clarify. It doesn't really change anything, but it shows what the parties might do.
Yeah,
Okay.
because it says it may. And then you said that with the fees, and
I'm sorry?
so, that there might be fees
Okay.
depending on how much you fundraise. And so it is a public park, and just for record, I would have an issue if we did end up having to put a fee on that as well. And so when would be that threshold that you would or would not know that you would have to charge a fee to utilize that park, the bike park?
I think that needs to be in the operational business plan for whoever's going to operate this park.
Okay.
I think this is focused on the design that would enable construction, but someone is going to operate it, and it's probably not going to be muscle powered. It'll probably be another third party.
So how far do we go with this conception before we then say, yep, we're gonna tack on a fee. How far do we get before?
Well, I think it would, once we have an operational agreement, that would probably come back to you and to the Board of Supervisors, and they would have a plan, just like we did with the golf course. They had a fee schedule, they had all of these things that they proposed, but they're gonna have to cover their costs. They can't just give everything away, whoever it is. If it's a nonprofit, they might have more flexibility, but if it ends up being a private entity, you never know what the operational plan will be. But they'll have to submit that, and we'll have to select somebody. And we'll hopefully do that. If it's a nonprofit, we don't have to go through a competitive process. If it's a for-profit, we will have to go through a competitive process, like we did for the golf course.
Hmm.
And you could be part of that selection.
Yeah. I would just like to see, though, that if it's gonna be out at Centennial, that whatever we do moving forward, that there isn't a fee for the public to use.
I think that's, I mean, I appreciate that. It's a great goal. I don't know how realistic that is. And, you know, someone has to have expenses and employees and materials to keep up the park.
All right, and then this would be a clerical, but on page 9, why are there so many 8.9s? There's an 8.9 governing law venue, 8.9 notices, 8.9 public records requests.
Oh, something got messed up in the formatting. Well, I can adjust that.
Okay. Yeah, because it goes all the way down to 10 as well, I think, so. Okay, well, that's all I have, thanks.
This is great, and what a presentation, nicely done, so well done. A couple comments. My understanding, so what Commissioner Walt said, fees, my understanding is that your goal is to not have a fee, but if something is like at a clinic or a class or a special, that there'd be a fee. I mean, I've attended several mountain bike clinics, and I've traveled, and I've paid a fee for the clinic, and I assume that the clinic is paying a fee to the park where they're, you know, just, or I know with the shooting range, some of the competitive shoots on a Sunday, they pay to reserve the space. So that was my understanding on that. A couple of things. I love on a previous slide talking about with kids, and it teaches patience and persistence and rewards patience and progression. And it just reminded me of a quote I once heard, and ultimately you cannot blow torch an egg to make it hatch faster. I think this is perfect, you know, if we're really wanting to learn skills, sometimes you have to have that patience, and you need to just understand that you will progress, and there's that thrill of getting better. I'd encourage you, in terms of your fundraising, and even within the MOU, have some basic templates in terms of what costs might be, and you aren't tied to that, but as when you're raising funds, I've been in the trenches of fundraising, and it's really helpful to have your goal. And you could have 3 different goals, even low, medium, high, just so that potential funders kind of know that there's a really good plan in place and a general idea of what it's going to take. In terms of the MOU, I had experience with this when the nonprofit I run, we donated a vehicle to the city, but all the details that were worked out in terms of who's responsible and who's raising the money and all of that. And so I found it very helpful. And it was also very helpful because it added legitimacy to the project. So I appreciate what you're doing. Yeah, so the financial template, the fundraising, and the provisions in the agreement, I think this is a really great project. It's a really big lift, and I applaud Muscle Powered and all of the passionate writers for taking this on. And I know you and I spoke about it several years ago, so kudos.
Almost 3
Yep,
years
yep,
ago.
yep. Yeah, so well done.
Thank you.
Yes, very great presentation.
Thanks.
I can feel your passion for it and especially your explanation of being up at the lake and seeing all those families doing all those things together. It's really neat.
Yeah.
So I can see that in you and good luck with it. I'm very much behind it. They all ask all the really smart questions, so that's about all I have to say. Good
Thank
luck
you.
with everything.
Thank you.
And when it comes to funding, yeah, you know who I am and maybe I can find somebody that could help you. So
Thank you so much.
you're very welcome.
Like previously said, all the comments were made, but I think it's a wonderful presentation, and I can see what you're looking at to put that out there and all the different, the top park and all, and I just think it's great, and kudos to Muscle Powered, and hope it all goes the way you want.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, to echo everything mentioned, I know we're just trying to lay the foundation so you can really start the groundwork.
Yeah.
I'm totally on board. I see how much Muscle Powered contributes to our community, not just on biking, but the trails, the musics, everything. I see it Muscle Powered everywhere. The farmers market, you guys are all over the place, and I think your reputation is upholding of that, and I think it would be of our benefit to partner with you and see where this goes. I really do agree with you that Centennial Park's a perfect place for 50. It's going to have amazing optics. People are going to drive by that and not even know it was there, similar to the disc golf course. And I think it's a perfect place. I think it's a great idea. The topography is awesome, and we have all the studies done. So I look forward to it, and one day bringing my family out there too. So yeah. Great presentation.
Thank you.
And so this is for possible motion to recommend to the Board of Supervisors. And we got to make a public comment. All right.
Thank you. Denny French, Carson City. One of the things I've noticed is that you all aren't identifying yourselves. Now, that, thing, I would look for that. I appreciate that because people that are listening aren't necessarily going to be aware who is talking with my ears like they are, even knowing that your lips are moving is not necessarily going to help me. But I really enjoyed the presentation, but I also enjoyed how you put together, except for the part about the liabilities and the logistics of that as far as insurances and such. That wasn't very clear. I'd have to have an interpreter. But the deal for me is if we're going to have that type of activity, I know that the disc park, I go just to be there. I don't do the discs, but it's a wonderful place to be. Thank you all for taking care of it like you do. The thing about restrooms and facilitation of parking are important to me, and it wasn't part of your presentation, and it would help an old guy like me to have some confidence in facilities being available, and would that then be city responsibility instead of Muscle Power? So if we make it, people will come, and if people go, they're going to need facilities. Thank you, Elise. Thank you. So thank you very much. I think this is a good idea. I haven't been on a bike in years. Hopefully I'll get back. But so that's on that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Denny. And so we have a possible motion to make a recommendation to the Board of Supervisors.
We have another public comment.
Oh, public comment.
Charles Noria, I'm on the board of Muscle Powered now. Excuse me, about 3.5 years now. I should acknowledge that, we're talking about muscle power, but Dan Thornton has been shepherding this thing along 6, 7 years now.
3 for me, but the project's been going for 8.
Okay. So really, he's been doing all of the legwork, I mean, I've been to every board meeting in 3.5 years, but really, you're the guy that's been moving this forward, and we'll do whatever we can,
The
but
labor of love.
yeah. In April, one of our board meetings, I brought this up, in April, issue of National Geographic magazine, there was a featured article about trail building, about new trail building, about how to integrate trails naturally, so they're not just straight up and down things. And it's one of the highest growth segments of recreation in the world right now. It's growing at about 6 to 7% a year, and almost all of it is being driven by mountain biking trails. And I think Carson City is a microcosm of that very idea. So I think the demand will be there. And as far as the cost and the maintenance and payment, whatever it's going to cost to keep this thing going, I think it's going to be dictated by the demand. And the demand, if within the first week we got people lined up all the way out there on the drive, then we probably going to have to, rethink this thing, and it might get bigger than we ever thought. But that's one possibility. But I think the demand will be there. In last night's meeting of OSAC, which I'm also on the board, we were talking about, we're getting to the end of the quality of life. I don't know if that was an initiative, or basically we're getting through the money that was provided for that, I guess, idea for Carson City. And I don't think that a project could possibly fit any better for quality of life in a bike park. I mean, you can make it very simplistic and just say we're like one of the last major municipalities without one. So, why can't we have one? And as far as running it and the logistics and all of that matters, we have templates all over the country that we can follow and bring. We can almost verbatim just plug them right into this. So I think that's an option. I mean, again, I don't think there's ever a bad reason to get people, young people, everyone in between, to get out and recreate and move. It's about fitness and quality of life. So I stand in favor of the bike park, and I will be happy to donate as much time as, I'm retired now, so I got nothing better to do. So I'm happy to throw in my time.
Thank you. Does he need to sign the public comment sheet? Sorry. Perfect. I'm learning still. Thank you. Any other public comment? All right.
Mr. Chair, could I offer a couple quick edits before
Absolutely.
you go for a motion? To clarify, so 5.2, removing the bold word optional. Then Commissioner Walt acknowledged the error in numbering, so to correct that, page 9, notices would be 9. Public records requests would be 9.1. Remedies 9.2, ownership of real property 9.3, no third-party beneficiary 9.4, assignment 9.5, authority to sign 9.6, counterparts 9.7, and then that should correct the numbering error. And I just want to acknowledge you don't have an Exhibit B on purpose. We wanted to get the feedback tonight. We would use our blanket, or just our standard template for right of entry to be able to give them to go on site, take measurements, do, any kind of due diligence and reconnaissance that they might need. So we will still need to attach that before that goes to the Board of Supervisors.
Perfect. With those revisions, do we have a motion to?
I'll try.
All right.
Hi, this is Kurt Meyer, Park and Rec Commissioner. I move the Park and Recreation Commission recommend to the Board of Supervisors approval of the memorandum of understanding between Carson City and Muscle Power to build a bike park. And should I throw in there as corrected by Jen Budge, the director?
I second. Mrs. or Lisa Shooty.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Sounds like we have a motion to approve or recommend.
Recommend.
All right.
Thank you so
Great
much. I
job.
really appreciate your support. It's going to be awesome.
All right, now we're on item 5C for discussion only, a presentation regarding the city's urban forestry program by Dave Navarro.
Okay, is everyone ready? Okay, for the record, this is Dave Navarro, Park Operations, like Superintendent for Carson City Parks, Recreation, and Open Space. Commissioners and like Chair, the following presentation provides updates on the Parks, Recreation, and Open Space Urban Forest. The department's urban forest covers a vast area of the city, including parks, open space properties, public buildings, and in Parks Department maintain right-of-way areas. A little over a year ago, the department dealt with an unusual die-off of mature, like trees and shrubs in the area. No single cause was known, but it was likely the result of a cascade of stressors. Stressors included natural, like aging, let's see, environmental factors, disease and pest, and also human-induced factors. Like staff met with industry experts and partners to assess the Parks Department's current like practices and standards. The following shows what the department has been doing since last year to learn more about the caring for and maintaining the city's urban forest. I would just like to add, also today I have here Bob Townseth. He's our arborist for open space, and he's here as kind of like my backup and to answer all those technical questions that I'm sure that'll be coming. Okay, since last year, the department has been attending like seminars and trainings related to the urban forest. We wanted to see where we could improve, change, or update our current strategies for care and maintenance in the department's urban forest like areas. The department has also reached out to industry like partners, and some responded with insight and also like opinions on what we like we're seeing and doing in the parks like urban forest like areas. The Parks Department has an arborist, like I mentioned earlier, on staff, who provides his expertise when called upon. Bob works, as I said earlier, like for open space, so he spends most of his time in the open space like areas, but he also allocates like some time to the Parks Department and our areas as well. We also had the City of Reno urban forester. He came down like for site visit to also discuss with staff our concerns about our areas. Green Lizard like Landscape LLC, they performed a tree planting like seminar with staff earlier this year, like for Arbor Day, and some staff were able to like attend like workshops that have been like hosted by the UNR Cooperative Extension on tree and urban forest care. Staff then also took like a deep dive into our maintenance like procedures and started updating and improving them. Irrigation was a top priority and has been a priority for the department for like a long time. Over the years, the department has been upgrading irrigation the controllers. The department has completed all parks and sports complexes and has just started on non-turf landscaping areas and also some of the rights of ways. In addition to updating some of the controllers, the department has tried to update like the watering cycles and also like the schedules, like to better match like the plant and the tree needs based on what we have learned through like the different workshops, like seminars, and also with the collaborations. Staff has also like realized that some of our irrigation like drip systems are old and they need updating or they need to be like replaced, as they have found clogged emitters and also like brittle or like pinched like tubings. The department has implemented a few other things, including mapping of trees through a program called Tree Keeper, and improving maintenance like practices such as pruning and also planting trees. Most of the trees in the parks are mapped, and some like in the rights of ways as well, but not all of the non-turf landscape areas. All recent, current, and future parks projects have included tree plantings. For example, the synthetic turf project that we did include 20-plus trees in that as well, and also 15,000 square feet of natural turf as well. Let's see. Recently, let's see, lost my, oh, sorry. All current future projects have included tree planting. Pruning has been ongoing like for some time, but over the last 5 years, Parks has received help and support from local contractors with the larger trees in our areas. Recently, these contractors completed all of the pruning of deciduous trees in Carriage Square Park and the cottonwoods in Mills Park, and for 4th year, like in a row, and also Monte Vista Park, like for the first time. Excuse me. Let's turn to some of the projects the department has been working on, some of the current ones and also like some of the future ones as well. First, this past fiscal year, the department received $150,000 through the city's like CIP, Capital Improvement Project, process for urban forest irrigation, landscape and tree like renovations and plantings. The Parks Department also has an annual line item of roughly $10,000 for tree plantings and also tree care. The funding this past fiscal year like enabled the department to plant 88 new trees, update drip irrigation to 160 of those trees, like the new ones, and also any of the existing ones in the area. And it also included approximately 6,000 linear feet of new drip like tubing, and also established mulch rings around those 160 trees, as well as updating of 4 irrigation like controllers. Let's see, 3 of which are used in the non-turf like landscapes, and also in some of the rights of way like medium. This current fiscal year, the department was approved for $50,000 through the CIP process for improvements to the city's urban forests and landscapes. And some general fund like accounts were also increased like to help cover like the cost of supplies such as like fertilizers for plants and also trees, and for also any future matches to any urban forest like grants that may be out there. This year's funding will go towards more tree plantings and irrigation updates as well, and also in those non-turf landscape areas, and also like in the rights of ways. Continuing from the previous slide, here are some future projects and funding opportunities for the Parks Department. Staff is always looking for additional funding opportunities. Let's see, recently the department's senior naturalist resource specialist, Marina Lovejoy, found an NDF grant for the department. The grant offered great opportunities for the department to secure like funding to support the city's urban forest program, provide educational opportunities, and help purchase and plant like new trees. Unfortunately, though, we recently learned that our application was not awarded, but NDF did say that they would pass it along to other opportunities within their agency. For future project, department hopes to perform some in-house and use others as training and educational opportunities for staff. Staff has already been updating current irrigation the scheduling and also drip system components to include the distribution tubing and also emitters. Updating irrigation controllers will require a department to purchase, and in most cases, we'll also have to pay to have them installed as well. Once the installation, though, is complete of the new controllers, staff then can take over the programming and the operation of those. Let's see, planting, care, and maintenance of trees in the city's urban forests will be a staff priority. Most tree planting is contracted out now, so the Parks Department would like to transition to having staff plant more trees in the future to help cover those installation costs. Staff will continue to look for training opportunities through UNR cooperative extension and other industry organizations. One important time-intensive project is going to be the mapping of the trees in the tree keeper program. The program is very detailed. There's 25 data fields that required to be met before we can even enter in a tree, and then most of that needs to be completed on site. So staff is working on a strategy to support and provide data collection for tree mapping. Okay, although the department is improving its management of the urban forest, we still have a ways to go on this journey. We are learning what is working for us and what is still continuing to be a challenge as we move forward. When the city implemented the Carson Connect a few years back, it gave Carson City residents an opportunity to be our eyes and inform the city of current issues or problems that we may not have been aware of. Carson Connect has helped the Parks Department respond more quickly to irrigation leaks, the tree issues, graffiti, the vandalism, the dump sites, et cetera. It has been a valuable tool for us. The Parks Department has over 8,000 acres of open space and park areas to maintain, so it is hard for staff to be everywhere at once. I encourage everyone to use Carson Connect to help with the troubleshooting and be the extra pair of eyes that we're looking for. The past 2 fiscal years have helped to improve the city's urban forests. We appreciate all the support that we have received from the Parks and Rec Commission and also from the Board of Supervisors as well. We will continue to submit CIP requests to support the growth in the city's urban forest program. Now let's move on to some of the department's challenges. Over the past year, staff has realized that irrigation has been a major thorn in our side. The department currently manages over 100 irrigation controllers. 40 of those are battery operated. The department not all of these controllers are the same, or they offer the same capabilities. As a department, we have one dedicated full-time employee to irrigation maintenance, repair, and installation. Unfortunately, the issues and the problems are so numerous that the department's irrigation tech is playing catch up from day one when we turn on the water in the spring. I mentioned earlier that the dedicated funding has been like working, like for us. But the department has just started like receiving it. And there has been a significant drop from the first year like to this year. So the department will look for opportunities to create more like consistent funding for urban forests, like maintenance. In addition, like the dedicated like funding staff, like dedicated to these areas are limited. The Parks Department did get approval and funding for a Parks crew like coordinator through the budget like process, like a few cycles back, like to help with the care and the maintenance of some of the urban landscapes. Progress has been made, but expanding this team would help provide a more like timely and consistent like response to the non-turf like landscape and also like the rights-of-way area that the Parks Departments currently maintain. Did I mention like irrigation? Like, of course I did, but our water needs throughout the year are like growing. We have been doing winter watering on newly planted like trees to improve their survivability. Traditionally, we like winterize our irrigation like systems around the beginning of like November, and then we turn them back on sometime in late March or early April. We may need to extend or shorten the time the irrigation is on or off. This could, and what's causing all this is there's just so many things that could be like a factor. This could be due to the drier, warmer, like winters that the city has been experiencing the last few years. And also our average daily temps in the area have also been like increasing as well. So this is something that we will definitely keep our eye on and adjust as we see. So with that, it's the end of my presentation. I have the slide up here that says any questions. I'm going to ask like Bob to come up here with us so he can answer any questions. But before we get to the questioning, this is kind of out of order, and I apologize for that, but I kind of want to put this slide up there. And I kind of wanted to talk about it like a little bit. That the Parks is also working on a campaign. And so we kind of put this like together, and we're going to start like pushing this out. Probably we'll do like a more robust campaign in the spring. But we're going to, go with this and we're going to encourage people, like if you see something, say something. And these are the best ways to contact like the department or to like report any issues or problems in our Parks Department. Carson Connect, I do have a QR code. You can like download like an app and have it on your phone, or you can also do it on the computer as well. This QR code here will take you to like the computer link. In the middle is just some general contact information on the Parks Department, how the best way to get a hold of us or to report any issues. We'll come to find out that we do so many like things within our department. We have reservations, we got the rifle and like pistol range. We have so many emails out there that some of the emails that come in for water issues, tree issues, sometimes go to our reservation coordinator, and the reservations coordinator like, well, who do I send this to? So we're going to try to streamline this and hopefully get a quicker and be more like efficient in our response times and everything like that. So I'm going to go ahead and leave this like up there, but Bob and I would be more than happy to answer any questions that the commission might have.
Any questions? Start on that side.
Yeah, I have questions. Hi, Jana Moan, for the record. And thank you for your presentation and thank you for the work that you do. I'm curious about when you have new trees that you're planning to plant, how do you decide where they go?
Bob Tonseth, Carson City Open Space Maintenance Foreman and Certified Arborist. The decision where we put trees depends on obviously the location, how big the canopy is going to eventually be at full mature size, the height of the tree, if it's under power lines, and then also, how long it's going to be in the sun. Different trees can handle full sun all day long, where other trees, they will be more stressed out if they're exposed to our pretty extreme heat, sun that we have here. So there's a number of different factors that will go to where we actually stick trees. And I think in the past that's been overlooked, and that's why we have trees that have funny haircuts, because we plant an ash tree right under a power line, and that's going to be 40 feet tall. So in the future, it'd be more beneficial for us to plant the right tree in the right place, and that would cut back on maintenance and then let the tree live its normal, healthy life.
Thanks for that answer. And have you guys thought about or have done any sort of like heat mapping across Carson City, or sort of like determination of where there is a need for more tree canopy, as well as, combined with those factors of where they would grow best as well? Just thinking about, we're moving into a hotter, drier climate, as you noted, for your irrigation challenges. And I'm just, there's so many benefits that urban forestry provides and urban tree canopy provides for shade and that kind of thing. So I don't know if, and I realize it's even more funding to try to do like some of that planning, but I think it's really important to start thinking about that for the future health of the trees as well.
Yes, this is Dave Navarro, Parks Operation like Superintendent. That is a great question, and we are diving into this looking for other ways to kind of help us out. We have not explored that, but I don't know if the city has that. But that's something that I will definitely look into, because that definitely could help, and help us strategize where we need to plant trees and shrubs, like Bob Bob said, like the right tree, like the right spot. When I was going through and mapping, and I have done some of the mapping, and people were asking me well, are you going to replace all the trees that died? And as I was going through these areas and looking at them, I was finding secondary issues where those trees were. I was coming across that they were planted so close to sidewalks, or the spaces were so small that the sidewalks were starting to heave. So it'd be hard for me to plant a tree back in there if it's going to damage or cause us to have to replace infrastructure in the future. So it's diving into this, I'm really, staff has really been opening up, kind of looking at things, but we have not talked about that. But that's something that I would definitely look into. And I think that would be interesting, to see. Absolutely.
Thank you. And then I just have one more question. Do you have a current estimated need for the irrigation system? It sounds like that's one of your greatest challenges. And I'm wondering if you have sort of a estimated budget number for what it would, because I can imagine you can only fix and repair a certain amount in any given time.
Yes, Dave Navarro, that's a couple years ago, our staff went through and we did kind of like an audit of all of our irrigation controllers, and within that audit, we also rated each one of those, and then we came up with a spreadsheet, and then we came up with a plan, and that's when we started to replace. We started with the parks first. Yes, excuse me. Started with the sports complexes first, actually. Then we did the parks, and then the next phase was to look at, okay, which areas do we want to look at next? We want to look at non-turf. Do we want to look at non-turf landscape right-of-way areas, or do we want to look at public buildings, which we also maintain as well. So we kind of put together a map. We have, like I said, the last 2 years last year, portion of the funding went to updating like some of those, and we'll probably try to update maybe like one or two more like this year if we can. But we do have kind of like a plan. The like how much is like I think the controllers, depending on the type, the location, can range anywhere from like $2,500 to like $7,500 like each. It kind of eats up, and that's just for the purchase of the controller. Then we got to pay for like the installation of that like as well.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much,
Yeah.
and thanks for the presentation.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right, yeah, Jim Fazer, thank you, gentlemen, for the information, and I feel your pain, maybe on a smaller scale than what you guys are dealing with. Just a couple of questions. So was there kind of in looking back at kind of the recent event with kind of the loss of some of the species out there, was there like a species of tree in particular that was more hard hit across the city? And then I guess the follow-up to that was kind of what, trees that are being replanted, kind of what's kind of the city standard for, good species of trees that are, hardy for this area that, will do well in this climate?
Bob Tonseth. It seemed like in certain areas that definitely the pear trees were one of the more affected trees. And now we're noticing that we are having some issues with our ash trees, which is probably caused by insects. So I think in future planning, planting more ash trees is definitely going to be a good idea. As far as the pear trees, and I think it was more of a lack of irrigation and other stressors. Not enough organic mulch, definitely changing in the environment, not getting enough water to them because of that change. But I don't think that we wouldn't have to avoid that tree in the future because it wasn't like a pest or a fungus or anything that can't be remedied with more human influence. And then as far as, trees that are good in this area, there's a lot of different resources to search, the hardness level of the trees and what would be best to plant in the area. And in future plantings, we'll look into those and make sure we knock some of those off the list and get the best trees for this environment and the locations that we're going to put them.
And see, just to add on to that as well, that's one thing that we're also like looking about. Yes, the city has like a recommended like tree list, and so we've been like looking at that, and we've been like reaching out to other like an expert, and in comparing like 20 years ago these trees were very favorable, but now there's some that are starting. Like, hey, we need to move like these trees, maybe move these ones off. And so we're always like looking to make changes and modifications. And that's one that we have been looking at. I don't have like a magic, we haven't come with like, this is our tree like list, but we definitely know that some trees out there like we probably won't plant again. And there's some other trees that we haven't been like planting that we probably will like start.
Great. Thank you for the presentation. I don't drive down Root Street very often that way, but I don't know if the wisteria that at the cemetery that the Rotary Club helped with, how are they doing? The ones that went along we planted them along the fence line? Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I just didn't, because I don't really drive, but I don't know. I mean, was that something favorable to plant or?
good question, kind of a curveball, we're talking about like trees, but, when we say like the urban, like forest, we do, also include like shrubs and plants in there, as well. Those plantings, have like the majority of them have done like really well. And I was actually, I think last time I was out there was a couple weeks ago that I really drove by and took a look at them, and just to see like how far they come from like, I think like last year, I believe the planting was done, yeah, year and a half ago. And just to see like how some of them have already like climbed and have already started like spread out. So yeah, there was an additional planning this year to kind of continue like on from that. So yeah, I think it's gonna work out like really well, so.
Thank you for the presentation. I was just wondering, the data fields, you were talking about the 25 data fields for the tree keeper mapping. What are some examples of what would go in those data fields?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Lisa Schutte.
Bob Tonseth. There's a lot of the, let's see, there's like tree height, diameter, tree health, tree, let him take it.
Yeah. So there's, it's like, is the tree, let's see, irrigated? The DBH, which is the diameter of the tree, height, obviously, like the species of the tree. Is it planted in like like turf area, non-turf, median, like shoulder, private property, and then there's like an address that a physical address that you put in there, as well. And then it goes into like, under observations, like what is the tree, like tree health? So we'll do like an assessment on site. What are the trees like needs? Does it need to be pruned? Does it need a priority 1 pruning, priority 2, priority 3? And then it talks about where it's like planted. Is it next to like a walkway? Is there any signs that are planted next to it? Is it obstructing like a sign? Is it causing sidewalk damage?
So it's super specific.
Yes,
That's
yeah,
great.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
great.
yeah, absolutely. And then within that program, you can also create like work orders, and then you can also track like the tree, like as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, like I said, there's a lot of information, and most of it you have to be like on site.
Right, okay, thank you. The continued challenges that I imagine, number one challenge, or at least up there, are the clogged emitters from all the minerals in some parts of the water. And I don't know, but that's my current challenge on an acre. I love, love, love the idea of the heat mapping. Thank you for asking that. And several years ago at the Board of Supervisor meeting, we were talking about opportunities to team, or Health and Human Services, they gave a presentation about community health and how there are opportunities for different departments to actually collaborate, and that, to promote community health. And this is a perfect example of a way to promote community health and the impact of a heat desert or a urban forestry desert, just like there are food deserts. And so I love the idea, and I really think that through the strategic plan, Parks and Rec and open space, but even within city strategic plan, this I think is an important topic. So again, I would love to keep that on the radar. And that's mine.
Kurt Meyer. Does the Parks Department have purview, Parks and Open Space Department have purview on all the trees, or does the Streets Department? I see the Streets Department taking care of quite a few trees. Does that mean they have portions of the trees that they're responsible for, and you have portions that you're responsible for?
It's a good question. Let's see, Dave Navarro, Parks Operation, the superintendent. Yes, the Public Works Department does have a lot of city trees that they maintain. A lot of their trees are are next to city roadways, like in rights of ways. So yes, they do have a lot of trees. Probably, well, I would say more than us, but it's probably about the same if you include our parks and also the open space areas as well.
Are you working collaborative with them, or do they have a program such as yours that the city's all on the same page collaboratively?
Yeah, so Public Works is using Tree Keeper that they actually have been using it for several years. And this past year, they included us in that and then added us so we can gain access to it. But they have been using it for, several years. They have a few more arborists on staff. So if we get into a situation where we need additional help, they have been able to provide that. They are also very busy. So, we're trying to do a lot of things on our own, but they have been able to help us when they have the opportunity. They have the bucket trucks. They can get up to the taller trees and get those areas. Bob, what'd you say? We from 20 feet down, we're pretty solid, but anything taller than that gets to be a challenge.
Yeah, I'd say as far as trimming canopies without a bucket truck, we're pretty limited on keeping a healthy canopy on the tree. You can only reach so much with a pole saw, but with the addition of us possibly inheriting a bucket truck from Public Works, we can definitely get to more of the dead limbs that are higher up, above 20 feet, 20 to 50 feet up in the cottonwood trees, and keep those trees looking healthy.
Thank you. So, Dave, you were talking about the funding and so forth. So, do you have, I understand that it's ongoing and so forth, but since this problem has arisen and we're getting warmer and things like that, is there any way you could put into the budget like a CIP request that says, hey, to get us back on the track for healthy trees here in Carson City, we could really use, I'm making up a number, $10,000, $50,000, $100,000. So the board could see that and say, hey, we're going to get ourselves back on track with possible software upgrades and possible controller upgrades to get some of these trees that we're responsible for back on track as a one shot to go forward. Just an idea I had. So it's kind of a relative question.
I can answer that. In Dave's presentation, he showed you our strategy, and that includes some one-time asks. So
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
we've had several. We've had over the last 3 years. The first year was 150,000, then we had 2 years at 50,000. So we've been trying to focus on certain areas, really making sure we get a new controller, new irrigation, replanting those trees, and then making sure they get the nutrients that they need and have a healthy environment, and we get the right tree in the right place as we go forward. And we're just we don't have the ability to mobilize too much either. So having these smaller requests is a little bit more palatable for us as well.
Well, thank you for answering that. I was unclear that was how that was given to the Parks Department. How long does a contractor have responsibility for trees when he's putting them in subdivisions? And I'm specifically talking about, because I'm walking over there all the time, the Anderson Ranch, around the Anderson Ranch place over there on the west side, because there are some trees that are really stressed over there. And how long does the contractor responsible for that before the city steps in and takes responsibility?
Typically trees are warranted for a year after they're installed. And then within that year, you can get that tree replaced, or if there's any issues with that. So that would be whoever installed it. The contractor, really wouldn't be responsible after that. So for Anderson Ranch, they have an HOA that takes care of that. So if you see any trees, let us know. We can report that to the HOA, and then they can get those either replaced or try to address any stressed trees over there.
So that HOA is responsible fully for
For
the
Anderson Ranch,
controller
correct?
and everything?
Yes.
Yeah, because my next question was, since you said the controllers were so expensive, do we have a standard that we can force on the
The standard that
these
was
people?
installed there, it was something that I think we spec'd for them.
Okay,
So we could
great.
assist if they needed help.
Right on. And is there a fertilizer regime that you use for these trees, or is that something that needs to be funded also?
It's like another great question. It's Dave Navarro, Parks Operation Superintendent. I can tell you that that's one of the areas that we struggled with the urban forest is getting fertilizer to those. I mean, they need more than just water. And so that's one thing that we have been, like I said, we're doing a lot of upgrades, doing a lot, and that's one of the things, that we're going to focus on this next year. We obviously, work with different fertilizer reps for the turf areas, and now we are going to those reps and talking about our non-turf landscape areas, our shrubs and our trees. We did fertilize a lot of our trees last fall, and I think we did some of them this spring. And so and with the additional funding that we have for this fiscal year, we're going to be able to purchase more, and so we're going to be able to fertilize the trees on a more consistent level. Just like the turf grass needs that supplement of nutrients, so do the trees and the shrubs, and so that's what we're working on improving.
Right. So not to be confused with the one-time money, you're spending money that's going to be there forever and put this part of your maintenance regime all the way down the line, not just because you got some one-time money.
Yes, one of the line items, when going through the budget process, we have our capital improvement project request, which is generally a one-time funding. But then we also have supplemental request, which is added to our budgets, and then that is something that we have every year. So we were able to get an additional funds for our fertilizer and chemical line item, and that's going to go towards that. And we have that, the additional, I think, $5,000 that we got we have that now. So then, and I'm sure, but prices of that they're all over the place. They're up, they're down, depending on what's happening on the world.
I won't take any more time. Thanks for your answers and your knowledge. And I just want to say that those trees are definitely what make Carson City beautiful. And I could say that you could pay me for the heat mapping, nothing. It's probably hotter where there are no trees. My smart aleck remark. So thank you, gentlemen.
I don't have any questions since Kurt took all that time, but I really appreciate your presentation. I'm just wondering does the general public know about the see something, say something? Are those signs anywhere by the parks and trees or anything?
You guys are the first to see this. So yes, so you guys are on the very forefront of this. I've been working with our I want to say volunteer coordinator, but she's our outreach coordinator now, Erin Larson, on putting this together. And so I wanted to be part of this presentation. It's kind of like a kickoff. And so from this point forward, we're going to start, putting these out on our kiosk and putting them out like on, let's see, trails. And then we're going to start in any new kiosk or any new like signage that we do, we're going to start incorporating this. So this is new. We're going to kind of see how it goes from here until like November. And then we're going to reassess. And then we're going to do like a big robust kickoff in the spring. Because typically the maintenance calls, they start coming in when we turn like the water on, and they just continually go until we turn the water off. So, but that's a good question. You are the very first.
Thank you.
All right. I feel like a lot of my questions are for Bob. Yeah. So I grew up in Tahoe. Tree beetles are a big thing, and once it starts, it kind of jumps from tree to tree throughout, like not only the canopy but like the kind of region. Is there any pests like that we need to be aware of for like the general public?
Bob Tonseth, like I mentioned earlier, the ash trees might be affected by the emerald ash borer in this area. And there's some signs to look out for. It's mostly like canopy dieback. You're gonna see your trees are starting to lose leaves at the end. You'll see in the bark exit wounds from the beetle. But once you start seeing like your dieback in your limbs, it's a good idea to just reassess your tree and get someone qualified to look at it. But yeah, we've been noticing that a lot of our ash trees are dying, and I've been noticing a lot more beetle activity. So
awesome. And like I live kind of near a park, but not like right next to a park. And I watered my grass and my garden, whenever I'm allowed, I guess. But is there like a certain range if you live close to one of these areas, like if you live next to the road or something, the roots that collect the water, if I'm correct, is there a certain range where the neighbors near a park should be maybe extra aware or water a little bit more? Just kind of like public information, I guess.
as far as watering, you don't really need to go beyond the canopy of the tree. The critical root zone is within the tree's like furthest out limb. That's also the drip zone, the drip line. And all your watering is going to occur between that and your trunk. So the issue is that people tend to water on their trunk, and that does absolutely nothing for the tree's health because all of the fine feeder roots are beyond that area. That's more of your anchor for your tree. So you'd want to open up your drip line or your irrigation line wider so you're actually providing water to the feeder roots of the tree.
Awesome. And are trees in this area, like, are they pollinators as well for like bees and whatnot?
Yes, there's many pollinator trees in this area. Most of your fruit trees are going to be your pollinator trees. So
Okay.
your apples, your pear trees.
Sweet. I appreciate the education on all that.
You're welcome.
That's all I had, and thank you for the presentation and updates. I know we've been looking for something like this for quite a while, so I appreciate your presentation.
Yeah, you're welcome. And yeah, it's, like I said, it's something that we're diving into, and we're learning new things every day, and we're just trying to make improvements. So
Thank you. Thanks, Bob.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? You want to speak, Danny?
Well, that's what I was getting my clarification.
Hi, Denny French, Carson City. I appreciate the opportunity. I don't believe it was required because it's not an action. I don't,
Well, I guess
but
I said it because I know that you were passionate about this. I know that you talked about this at several meetings prior to this meeting.
well, I appreciate that very much. I see something, I say something. And bringing up the situation at the senior center, I hope that that will be followed up on, and I believe that tree will benefit from any observations and then reactions as soon as possible better. I would like to say every tree I had looked at and had seen in distress broke my heart. A tree has to have a full life commitment, just like a puppy, from the time it's born till when it's passed. You responsible. And I feel the city dropped the ball, but I believe that Mr. Navarro's presentation suggests that the lot has been learned since that time. The initial recommendations and review after, after the 200 plus trees were lost did touch on a few things, but it missed a lot. And part of it is that we see something we didn't speak up. We thought it was someone else's tree. So I'm glad that there's considerations that the Public Works and Parks will have a defined tree resource book. You know, you named it. But my main thing is this is a move in the right direction. I'm very pleased. Each tree, when I looked at the estimate for the cost of one tree, $300, multiply that by the 200 and something that we lost. From the time that you pick the tree to the time that you decide how deep that tree needs to be planted, it's not just you could put a tree in a hole. And when you talk about different watering patterns, it depends on the tree and structures of such. But I think this is a great move, and I appreciate the presentations, and it's nice to meet the arborist, and that any help that we as a community can put in, we should. Each tree, as we heat up, will be worth more than you ever put into it as far as finances, and I think it should be a regularly financed item, not just a hit and miss, once in a while thing. Thank you. Between that cost does not relate to plumbing or water or the other facilities. So it's a big investment, but it's well worth it. Thank you.
Thank you, Denny. I guess with that, we're moving on to item 6A for the director's report.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. Just a few announcements. We have a couple new hires. As you might know, Nick Wentworth, our park project manager, is leaving the city, starting his own company, Comstock Landscaping. So we wish him well, but we have hired a new project manager. He's actually overlapping with her position for a few weeks to make sure she's properly onboarded and trained, and that's Madison Pong. We'll make sure she comes to a future meeting so you can meet her, but she comes to us from Design Workshop, and she's a talented landscape architect, so we're excited to have her. And also we have a new park ranger, Tristan Lopez. He came to us from Washoe County because Alex Berger, that was one of our park rangers, went to Washoe County, so we did a little swap. So we'll say it's fair. They're both wonderful. And then also, as Dave kind of alluded to earlier, we promoted Erin Larson. She was our volunteer coordinator. She's now our community outreach coordinator. She'll still be over volunteers and that whole effort, but we've added PR, marketing, and media to her duties, which is sorely needed, and we could really use some assistance. She's already hitting the ground running. She's doing amazing. So we're really pleased about that. I wanted to give you just a quick update on our federal lands bill. We've been working on this for 8 years. It's been a tremendous lift, and we've passed out a committee on the Senate side. So we just need to pass on the House side. So this is the furthest we've ever been. I'm really hopeful, crossing my fingers and my toes and my eyes and everything else, and hoping we are able to do great things with that. And then a few other updates. So we finally received a conditional notice to proceed for our Snipplemuh grant for Mills Park, which is our $14.9 million project. So we have a request for proposals out right now to hire a design firm. So that process is underway, and we hope to have a designer on board by the end of the year. As a worst case scenario, that's if we don't have a clear top number one, and then we have to interview potential firms. So very excited about that. East Lampa Ranch, so that's the east side of the freeway, where there will be a 3-acre dog park split into a small and large dog area. That did get approved by the Board of Supervisors. So we will see that project go forward. We still haven't seen any progress on the west side of Lampa Ranch for the 10-acre park. Hopefully, we'll have some of the developers moving forward as that progress happens. It has to reach, I think, 750 dwelling units before that would happen. So there's still some time for that one. The Parks and Recreation Master Plan, so the Board of Supervisors authorized us funding to update our department's master plan. Right now, we have an open space plan that's from 2000, and then we have a Parks and Rec plan from 2006. So they're both really outdated, especially the open space plan. We've completed the entire thing, and it didn't even have the foresight to be where we're at today. So we're going to be really doing a big, robust effort the next year. We'll want all of you to participate, as well as Open Space Advisory Committee and the public as we move forward. So I'm working on an RFQ right now to get that out, and we'll get a designer or a consultant on board to assist us with that effort. And I think that's really all I have. Any questions for me?
Oh, sorry. Commissioner Walt for the record. So I know we didn't meet until June, or since June, but I would really love for you to be able to share your assessment on the 4th of July event. I felt that on our end, it all went well. We saw the park ranger a couple times before dusk, but I felt that our volunteers controlled the traffic quite well. There were no issues, and traffic was actually a minute less than last year. It cleared out in 33 minutes instead of 34 minutes from Centennial all the way down. But we didn't hear of any issues from anybody. And then trash the next day, we had, I believe, 6 volunteers, and we started at 8. We ended by 8:45, and the majority of the trash we picked up was from, it had to be months, even maybe, quite a bit ago. So there wasn't much trash at all. So I commend the community for doing its part as well. But I would love to hear what you guys felt, how you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Jennifer Budge, Parks and Recreation Director. All the feedback that I've received has been very positive. I mean, we really appreciate the partnership with RSVP and then Duncan Golf Management for allowing part of it to be at the golf course as well. The park rangers had nothing but positive feedback. Some park users that I spoke to, I didn't get one complaint. So usually I hear about it. So I think everything went really well. Yeah, so thank you Molly, for all your hard work, though. I know it's a big lift.
On that end, though, as well, it's the partnership with all of the different entities within the city, the community, and then, it wouldn't happen without Duncan Golf on that end as well. So their partnership is great. But yeah, no, and the sheriff's office is phenomenal when it comes to that event as well. So, but no, I just wanted to say I appreciate Parks and Rec, the special events office as well. They're extremely patient with me, so that's a plus. But no, I'm glad to hear that because I didn't hear anything, so I'm glad to hear it went well. But thank you again, and thank you, Dave, for attending all those meetings as well.
Shane Amon, for the record. And my question for you is about the lands bill. I thought that it had also passed out of the House side because Representative Amity's Northern Nevada lands bill was up in the House Natural Resources Committee a few weeks ago. Did it not?
Was.
pass?
I don't think it's passed quite yet. And then the House bill is a little bit different than the Senate bill. So there's going to have to be some combining of efforts to clean that up because they're a little bit different.
Okay.
They're a little nuanced,
Okay.
but I will keep you updated. Crossing my fingers.
questions for Jen? All right. Thank you, Jen. Now 7A, the update from the school board liaison. Molly Walt.
Thank you. Um, Molly Welt for the record. So today was the first day of school. Yay. So I think you all might have noticed the traffic. Okay. So first and foremost, I would like to ask the community to please slow down. Slow down in those school zones. Stop for the students that are trying to cross the street. I would, greatly emphasize that. I know the sheriff's office had, two deputies at every school today. And, I would just encourage to please stop for the students and slow down in those school zones as well. So normally during the summer, our agendas are a little bit lighter than normal. But we did have some, interesting topics come forward. We've been doing a lot of policy changes, which gives us the opportunity during summer. The recess policy passed, and, we brought that back a couple different times after community feedback. And so I believe this is a policy that everybody seemed to agree on, which I was happy to see as well. We did get an update on the North Lampa Ranch property that the school district now owns. And we own it, but we have no idea what is going to go on it just yet. So, yeah. So that purchase was exciting for the school district. I think when enrollment was going up, there was an idea of what was needed, for the high school. But as many of you know, nationwide, enrollment is going down. People just aren't having as many kids as they once did. Our enrollment continues to go down. It's not to say that, it's just going down. So families aren't moving in. And so what is going to go on that property, the school district just doesn't really know just yet. But it is owned by the school district. Any questions for me?
Yeah, I was wondering, we worked pretty hard on that entire project. Is that all behind us and working out well as far as that piece of the park and fencing it off and so forth?
Oh, yes. I was like, what are you talking about? Yeah, Empire. Yeah, it is. Yes, and thank you again for that, because who it made the biggest difference for. The students, of course, but I heard a lot from the parents on that, and they're parents that don't normally, come out and say, much, but they were extremely appreciative of that because it is a safety. And so now there's no way to enter into the school from that park, which makes a huge difference. And so you actually, there is an entrance into the school district side, but you have to be on the school district, property on that. And where I saw it was when Empire was doing a family night, and they were shooting off rockets. And, and it was right in that area, and it was just enclosed, and it was nicely done. And we're working on trying to get some soccer goals in there for the students as well. They didn't ever want to put much on there, when it came to equipment, because it was open to anybody to walk right out of the park with. So, I was working on that as well. But yeah, thank you for asking. And again, it was a great partnership with the school district. Oh, perfectly. Yes, thank you.
Awesome. Item 7B is the update from the foundation for Carson City's Park and Rec. They sent us an attachment, and they're doing a lot of great things with the new flags on the north and south end of town, and the Sea Hill flag restoration, and they have a golf tournament coming up in October. So there's a lot of things happening. They changed their motto to improving our community one project at a time. and I think that's awesome. So thank you to them. And now we're on to the future agenda items. Our next meeting is October 6th. So, Kurt?
Kurt Meyer, working with Greg and a lot of other wonderful people on the e-bike survey. So we have an e-bike survey out there, and it's going to be through September. We also have a, oh, Jen, will you help me with the open house there at the, up here? It's on the 24th, I believe. Does that sound right?
It's the 24th, I think, at 5:30.
And it's here in the lobby of
It's
the
in the lobby of the
center.
community center.
So before that, if you guys could get out and get on it's on the Instagram. I've seen it on Instagram. I've seen it in the newspaper on Saturday.
You
Get
can
on
find it
there
on our
and do this.
Facebook page and on our website too.
Yeah, it's just
carsoncity.gov.
Yeah, just go and do the survey. Even if you don't know or you don't have an interest in any of this, it's pretty educational the way we set it up. So people can kind of learn at the beginning and then say, hey, yeah, I feel this way about that. Because the more information and more surveys we get filled out, the better we're going to be able to get to the final goal. So just wanted to talk about that. Any questions on that survey, or did you take it?
I did take it, and I really appreciate how you talk about the 3 different classes of bikes. That is very
Like
helpful.
an educational thing, yeah.
Absolutely.
Greg did really good with that, so. That's
Awesome. Do you, when do you think you'll have the results of that survey?
I think we're going to be talking about it at this shortly.
Sweet.
I think it's only going to go for not much longer, and then we're going to be talking about it in the lobby. Am I correct in that? I might be. Dave helped out quite a bit, so I should have written all those dates down
Yeah,
before I opened my mouth.
we have an e-bike working group, and there's representatives from Parks and Rec Commission. Kurt's on there, and then Dave's representing some staff. And
Dave's going to clean it all up.
Dave Navarro, Park Operations Superintendent. I don't know about cleaning it all up, but so the open house on the 24th is just because we know that there's a lot of questions that have been coming up. So gives anybody who wants to talk to like a staff member or a committee member face to face to learn more like about it. We're not going to have the results like yet because the survey closes like September. I think we put it out to September like 7th. So we're not going to have any of the results. The last time I checked on how many were filled out, that it was Monday, and I think we were like at 652.
That's great.
At this point. Yes, that's tremendous. Yeah, it's tremendous. So thank you for everybody who's been like filling them out and keep sending them in. So.
Sounds great.
Thanks for helping me out, Dave. I should have jotted everything down before I opened my mouth.
Cool. Yeah. So we're on future agenda items, and I think if the results are available by October 6th, that'd be a great thing to just kind of go over. If anyone else has any recommendations.
So in public comment that came up about, mention about the pollinator garden, and I'm just curious if it would be possible maybe to receive an update on the pollinator gardens. And then do any of the parks in Carson City have the opportunity for a community garden? Or has Parks and Rec considered that?
there's always an opportunity. We do have a community garden in partnership with Cooperative Extension from University of Nevada over at the cemetery.
Oh, okay.
And we have master gardeners that maintain that and take care of that.
Okay. And maybe it'd be interesting if it fits in with the schedule to get an update about.
We
just
would
the
need a partner
gardens.
for something like that. We
Oh,
definitely
okay.
couldn't take that on our own.
Yeah, okay.
Awesome. Well, with that, we're at item 9 for public comment. If there is any more. You stuck the landing.
Thank you, Denny French, Carson City. I just appreciated today, and I think we're all catching up with ourselves and good review. The next thing is, I believe there's an activity coming up with the K-9 at Centennial Park, a tournament for the Sheriff's K-9. I don't know what date, 29th or such. But the main thing is, I was up there recently and looked at the turf area, and they hadn't put the trees in yet. I went up then again, and new trees, they'll be welcome comes next summer. And so I appreciated that. And I would like to say, though, that I've been disappointed in our community as a whole, and I really shouldn't, because it's really only myself I've got to govern in that respect of people's involvement. If you can't come to a meeting, but you have a thought about things on the agenda, let your supervisors, your commissioners, your committee members, and let them know, because that's how we all stay engaged, and then we can work on things better when we are engaged. Separation, take a little time away from your, Candy Crunch games, and let your commissioners and committee members know you appreciate them, for one thing. And then also, you have a thought, put it out there. It may be the silliest thing in the world, but somebody might pick something up, even going just the opposite of what you said. So speak up. Thank you.
Thank you, Denny. Guess we're on the final item and possible action to adjourn the meeting. All right, all in favor?